So, Wuthering Heights just came out, you know, the 1847 book adaptation by Emily Bronte, and let's just say some people have mixed opinions.
Are some of my favorite letterboxd reviews for Wuthering Heights. Christ, there's so much fog in this movie. Kissing booth for Wuthering Heights.
Now, I haven't actually read the original book by Emily Bronte. I am aware of some of its themes though, because I did some research into the book, and I feel like the need to read it after I'm done with this video, because I do find the book pretty interesting. Some of the themes are interesting to discuss if you actually read the book. And I have seen some clips of the film, the 2026 version, and yeah, you know, I do have some criticism. First of all, the main character, Heathcliff, is played by Jacob Elordi, which is... I mean, I'm not gonna say Jacob Elordi is like talentless or bad, but he definitely doesn't fit the role of the character, and I can definitely see why some criticism towards the casting of Jacob Elordi was primarily that he is a white dude. And Heathcliff in the book is actually described to be like dark-skinned. His race is supposed to be ambiguous for a reason, because it's supposed to describe the racism that he experiences in the book, primarily in 19th century England. So... I don't know why they casted Jacob Elordi for this when there's a clearly, there's a clear depiction, description of how Heathcliff is supposed to be. I definitely agree with the criticism here, absolutely, because it does look like another missed opportunity for a person of color to play a character where, they look like them. I've seen some people describe Heathcliff to be a Romani person, but he's not really described to be anything. He's just dark-skinned, and the interpretation for who he's supposed to be, whether he's like South Asian or Roma from a European country, is really up to the, to the viewer to decide. I definitely agree that a Romani person could have been perfect for Heathcliff, considering he's literally supposed to be, a dark-skinned individual from 19th century England. So yeah. I don't agree with hating Jacob Elordi though, of course, because I don't think Jacob Elordi deserves to be, treated badly or hated just because he's playing, a character that is not really fit for him. I agree with the criticism of Hollywood casting, but another criticism I do have towards this is that is Hollywood just lacking new faces in general? I mean, anytime a film comes out, you always see those actors you probably seen in previous films, and it does get people questioning whether Hollywood is intentionally doing this or they just seriously don't have anyone new to add. And I will say that anytime a book is picked up by Hollywood for adaptation, it's definitely a hit or miss. Mostly a miss, and I do understand why it may not be faithful, since including every little detail would mean the film will have to be way longer than it should be. But at least some film adaptations of books manage to stick to the main idea and plot, whereas Wuthering Heights, from what I've heard, was just turned into fan fiction. Honestly, when Jacob Elordi was announced as the main character, did anyone truly expect it not to be anything but a fan fiction? And from what I know, the director of this film, Emerald Fennell, didn't even try to stick to the main themes of the book and didn't even try to make it faithful, because she read this book apparently when she was like 14, and she said that she was making this Wuthering Heights adaptation based on her interpretation of the book when she was like 14, and by that I mean, I guess she thought that this book was like a fan fiction. Which is ridiculous if you, know the themes of the book, which is a gothic romance, and the relationship between Heathcliff and Catherine is anything but romantic. It's actually pretty toxic, considering Heathcliff comes from a different background and thus endures discrimination because of it. And that discrimination is what drives his desire to enact revenge against those who wronged him, which adds on to the toxic relationship. Honestly, I don't know why I haven't read this book before. It just makes me want to be honest. One thing I will agree with this is that Jacob does seem to be perfect at playing characters with violent tendencies. His role on Euphoria, where he played an abusive, insecure individual with toxic masculinity, was well acted by him, and he just has that type of look to him, obviously Jacob Elordi's not like this in real life, he's actually very nice, but it's just anytime he plays characters that are not toxic, I don't know, he just seems perfect for toxic characters. Y'all, regarding Jacob Elordi playing toxic characters, as I'm editing, I decided to just go on TikTok to look up a bunch of Wuthering Heights slander, because, I need something for the video, and I found the best letterboxd review that basically just sums up the character of Heathcliff when it comes, to Jacob Elordi. This is probably just my favorite letterboxd review of all time, but let's just read it. Why is there a pony play in Wuthering Heights? Why is Margot Robbie dressed as a scant? What is a Scandinavian milkmaid? You know what? This one right here, the Scandinavian milkmaid. This one's my favorite. This one's my favorite so far. And why is Heathcliff a sexual sadist? So they did make Heathcliff a toxic character. I was right. I was kind of assuming that he was gonna be toxic because he's played by Jacob Elordi. I was right. The Letterboxd reviews don't lie, guys. But again, my point still stands on needing new faces, which is why I will give Heated Rivalry some praise here, and I also do plan on making a video about that TV show like later on after this video, and I already have a script for it, because they actually managed to have new faces and give opportunities to these young actors who are now being recognized everywhere and are probably being offered more roles. I know Heated Rivalry isn't like, you know, a Hollywood project, but I just wanted to include it because I did appreciate seeing new and fresh faces. Look, I'm not saying that Jacob Elordi is like talentless. It's nice that he has a lot of opportunities because, you know, back in the day, he too was like an unknown actor that, you know, started his role on The Kissing Booth of all fucking films. Don't even get me started on that film, okay? But I would still like there to be, you know, some diversity and, you know, kind of like have opportunities for other people. Another criticism I will add here is that, you know, besides the role of Heathcliff like not being given to a person of color, both Elordi and Robbie were just not good fits. Margot's character's name is Catherine Earnshaw, who is 12 when she meets the Linton family, 15 when she accepts Edgar Linton's marriage proposal, and dies in childbirth at the age of 18. She's a literal child in the book, while Robbie is 35. Same thing with Heathcliff. He too is like the same age as Catherine, while Jacob Elordi is actually younger than Margot Robbie. He is 28. And I really don't understand like this weird phenomenon of like films casting adults to play literal children. Like, who looked at Margot Robbie and was like, you know what? Yes, you absolutely should play this character because you definitely look like a 15-year-old. This is absolutely no hate to Margot Robbie. I personally think that she's a great actress. It's just, I don't think she's a good fit particularly for this type of film, especially since this film is, like I said before, a gothic romance genre, and Margot Robbie just doesn't give me gothic romance vibes, if you know what I mean. In Barbie, it kind of made sense because Barbie was like a girly, pinkish type of film. It was very upbeat, pop type, and Margot Robbie fit the character perfectly in Barbie because I just feel like that's her vibe more. While gothic romance, not so much. Jacob Elordi, on the other hand, does actually fit the gothic romance genre. I definitely do see him playing, like, you know, especially toxic characters like I mentioned. I feel like this type of role was kind of made for Jacob Elordi, just obviously not Heathcliff. I feel like he would have played an amazing Edgar Linton, but that's just, again, my opinion. Anyway, closing off this video, I feel like Hollywood's just gonna continue to be reusing the same actors because I get it. There's definitely comfort in seeing, you know, well-known celebrities because there are people who are diehard fans of them, but I don't really think that's still a good mindset to have. We should be more open to new talent, new faces, new opportunities, and also diversity because come on guys, I get it. I like these well-known actors too. I'm not saying they're talentless. I mean, they were once also not that known and now they are, but let's give more opportunities to newer people who can also be just as well known as these people. Ooh, that was a lot. Sorry for not posting for a while, by the way. I've been very busy with university. It's like my only excuse for not posting is mostly university, considering I need to get through it. I had exams, assignments, you know, all this boring stuff of being in university. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I am out.